What's up, guys? It's Zulu Monk here. Gotten a couple requests to do tutorial videos, and I know I've done some in the past, but I feel like my tutorial videos aren't really that good because they don't really explain a whole lot, especially from the ground level up. And I know the OP-1 has only been out for about, I think it's been out for 2 years, but I don't think I've ever explained everything from like just the starting point. So that's what I do now. I'm gonna do a couple. I guess a series of videos that kind of explained how to use the OP-1, how to make music with it, how to experiment with it. Because that's really what I use it for. Is just a musical experimentation device. Like I just try things. Like I don't know what's gonna happen, and sometimes it comes out good, sometimes it doesn't. But it's always fun to just mess with it. So right now, I guess the best thing for me to do is to kind of separate these videos out because I've tried doing this a couple times before, and these videos could be up to an hour, if not longer, if I were to just explain one section. So I'm gonna try to be as brief as possible and get as much information to you guys as I can, as fast as possible. It's gonna be kind of a dense video, but try to try to bear with me just because of the way the OP-1 functions. I guess the only way I could really do this any better is if I were to kind of explain this, one-on-one with everybody and give like a class, but that's not an option. So I guess starting off, I'm gonna explain the tape because tape is the kind of the starting block of the OP-1. Even though I know this is a synthesizer, at the end of the day, you're probably going to want to record something on it and kind of save things and know how the device functions, because like the heart of the device is the tape function, the tape module. So starting off with the tape, the first thing you want to do, number one thing on your list of things, if you're an OP-1 user, is get in the habit of exporting your tape, saving it to your computer. I do it like on a daily basis because I make new stuff and I use it very frequently, but you want to make that a regular occurrence because you never know what might happen. If you're not aware, there's really no undo features on the OP-1. There's copy and paste, but if you do something wrong, whatever actions you make are permanent, which is cool in some respects. But you don't want to screw up and have like a really cool song just get messed up because you move something in the wrong spot and you have no other copy of it. So in order to save your all the stuff you have on the tape in the OP-1, hold down the shift key, hit the comms button, go to disk, and when you do that, once you have it connected to a computer, it'll show up as an external device on your computer and you can export. There'll be a little folder that says tape. Now when you do that, I highly advise that you make up a naming convention. For me, I do year, month, day, so that I can have all my stuff in chronological order on my computer so I can easily find tape if I'm looking for something. You can also take it a step further because when you export it, it exports the 4 tracks you have on the tape. So there's 4 separate audio files. I would advise downloading Audacity, and within Audacity you can just drag and drop. It's completely free. You can drag and drop those audio files into Audacity, combine them into one file, so you can preview all of your tape as if it was one unit as you do on your OP-1, and kind of cycle through it to say, oh, I remember this song, I can pull it out. The tape is also really cool because you can import it back into your OP-1. So let's say you have, like I've kept tape from a year ago. I can listen to like the first couple of things I did on the OP-1. You just load it back up. It'll import it back. The OP-1 will do like some type of defragmenting operation, and then when it comes back on, it'll have everything the way you left it in terms of tape. So that's the main thing. It's, I guess the first thing I like to kind of point out to people is if you really want to save everything, just export it frequently. So with that out of the way, it's the function of the tape. And after you deal with tape management, first thing you do before you start building a song is, even though I know it's depending on who you are, it might be different for me. It's kind of important because the way the OP-1 works is you want to figure out what tempo you want to use. Now there's kind of 2 different ways to do this. You can take the first route, which is with the way I used to do it before, is setting your tempo depending on what you're doing. Because really the tape is 6 minutes long, so you can do whatever you want on it. You can make separate projects in different areas. Go at it and have fun doing it that way, which I did before, which is cool. But then you get into trouble with all my beat markers on where they were before. What tempo was this? I mean, you can always tap the tempo in, but you're like, okay, what tempo was this section? What tempo was that section? So you kind of run into some certain issues if you are constantly changing your BPM on the same tape. Now, so there's certain instances where I do need to change the BPM. Let's say if I'm doing a remix, I might I might record an acapella that I have and record it in onto the tape. I'm gonna want that BPM to match the acapella. That's one instance where I'm like, okay, I know I need to set BPM for this. But other than that, what I usually do is I set my BPM to something, standard, like 90, maybe 120, something around that range. And then I'll change the tape speed depending on what project if I'm in. Like I say, if I have one project that lasts, I don't know, maybe like 45 seconds of tape with all different loops and sections. And I jump over and I'm like, okay, I want to start something fresh, something new, but I want a faster tempo. You don't have to change the BPM. You can just increase the tape speed with the white encoder, and then that'll essentially speed up the song that you're playing. Now, be mindful that if you're trying to jump between those different sections and you need to go back down, this changes the pitch and the speed. So I have a section that I've already laid out here, and this video really isn't to show you how to build a song, because I tried doing that in the same video as this, and it does not end well. Like this will be a super long video if I get into how to make a song. But I will do that in the future. Do not worry. I have a separate video for that and for different sections. But this is just strictly tape management, what you can do with the tape, different functions within the tape. So I've already got something built now. If I hit the play button, that'll start playing. So, well, everybody knows, first things first, play button starts the song, stop button starts and stops the song. I don't really have to touch on the record button. I'll touch on the features of the record button later on in the actual, arrangement of creating a song. So just the different functions within the tape module when you hit, the tape button. Once you go over here, you've got your lift button. This is essentially like your copy or delete. If you do not paste it again, it essentially, operates as delete as well. This is your paste button. And then here you have your cut and join. And I'll kind of show you how those function. So let's say this particular track. Actually, I might have to come back to that. So those are those functions there. So then up here in the tape mode, these 4 buttons here, 1, 2, 3, and 4, correspond to your track number. So track 1, I have my chords. I'm turn the metronome off. Sorry, I have that on. Track 1, I have my chords, and I turn the metronome off. So I'm trying to make this as thorough as possible. Just turn the red encoder when you're in the tempo screen. You can turn that up and down, but I just turn it all the way off after I've had the song completed. So if I hold this button down here, solos that track. Let go, brings everything else back in. Let's say I want to copy that section and bring it over. This one section. Hit the lift button. It takes it up, so it's saved into the memory. In order to paste it again in the same area, which you need to do, because unless you really want to delete it from that section, hit paste again, move over. So now you're in a new section. Hit paste again, bam, you pasted it. So now it's in a new area. So I can play it over here by itself. Now, let's say if you want to copy this whole section, hold down Shift, hit lift. Now everything's in the memory. And it's really key to remember to paste it again, because you could lose a whole lot of stuff if you don't paste it again. So now that's saved over there. So now I have that for 8 bars instead of just 4. So that's what those functions do. And then here you have your cut. Now, cut, depending on what you're doing, cut might not really be that big of a function for you, but when you start getting into loop selection, cut is very useful. So I just cut that section there. So I just went to a beat marker, hit the cut button, split it in half. Now in order to bring that back together, I'm gonna use the blue encoder, sorry. It's gonna sound a little bit weird because I'm moving through the tape. In order to bring that piece back together, hold down Shift, hit this to join it back. Now it's back into one piece. Now, the reason I want to cut something, let's say if I want to set like a pre-made loop, I can hold down Shift and hit the loop button. And it'll loop the length, it'll basically set the loop length to the length of whatever section of the tape that you're on right now. So since I'm on, track 1, I cut that in half. Instead I didn't get the 2-bar loop. So it's not gonna go to 4 bars, it's gonna stop and start back over. But if I do the same thing on any other tracks, because they're 4 bars, it would select all 4. So you can get some interesting different ways to kind of set your loops and do things once you're starting into live performance. If you take it to that step, that's always there. So I'm gonna join that back together again. So we've kind of gone through copy, paste, cut, join. Now, and I talked a little bit about soloing tracks. You can solo as many as you want together. If you want to mute a track, hold down Shift, hit that button. The track is in there. So I took out my drums. Take that out. I can take out the chords. Now it's nothing on there. And if you still want to solo something, you can. But when you let go, it's back to being muted. So that's what those buttons do. So next, because I kind of want to do this as quick as possible because I feel like my camera's about to die. You've got your in and out for different loops. So if you want to just, loop this one section, the second bar of this 4-bar loop, that just loops that one section. So I'm gonna go back and just loop the four bars. So that's in and out. The loop, which we've already discussed, you can hold down shift and loop something, or you can just turn the loop off and it'll just play the tape until nothing's there anymore. So I'm gonna turn loop back on. Here you have your tape tricks, these 3 buttons here. You have your stop, which keeps everything in time. So it's really cool. You can, if you have like a transition from one section to another, I'll do something while soloing one track, hit this, so I'll kind of show it. I'll play this one part here. So it'll keep it in time. You have to worry about doing anything crazy to make sure everything is working well together. So the next one is the rewind. So if you play this, before I do this, just heads up, these 2 functions here don't stay in time. So what I'll do is I'll play something, and just keep time in my head of, okay, this is gonna be 1 bar, and then bam, hit play again. So I have to start the loop over again in order for the track to kind of stay in time and not throw you off. Because if you do that, so I'll show you what happens if you don't hit play again. So you should be over here somewhere, but instead of just starting back from where it stopped. Same thing with this. It's kind of like a stutter. See, but it goes out of time. Usually I'll do the same thing. I'll kind of keeping track of it. So it adds a little bit of live performance to it, because this really can function as like an instrument on its own, where you can do a whole lot of interesting things with it. So those are the tape tricks. These here are the memory banks for the mixer. I won't get into that right now. I'm just focusing strictly on what you can do with the tape, just because it's, like I said, you'd be surprised how long you could talk about this thing. This video could get way too long. So I touched on those parts. So we've touched on the tracks, in and out, the loop, the tape tricks, the copy and paste, play and start. So now I guess tape movement. Say if you want to jump between different sections in the tape, you can move through kind of fast forward through the tape using the arrow keys, which not really the most effective way to do it. So if you hold down shift, hit the arrow keys, you can just jump beat marker by beat marker. So that's very effective for going through the tape. Now also, if you want to go to the very end of your tape, if you hold down the stop button and the right arrow, it'll go to the very end, the last thing you have recorded. So if I were to record something, there's 6 minutes of tape on here. If I were to record something at 5 minutes and 30 seconds, that marker starting at 5 minutes 30 seconds of that marker on the tape, and I hit the stop and left arrow button, I'm not recording anything else between here and something is starting at 5 minutes and 30 seconds, it'll go all the way into that whatever I'm recording at the very end of the tape. So it's good for getting to the end of a section if you need to jump to the end real quick. And same thing if you hold the stop button, and let's say if I put the start here so it doesn't know. Hold the stop button and put the left arrow, get you to the very beginning of the tape. So you can jump around quickly with that. So yeah, those are those functions. And I guess for the encoders on the tape, the blue allows you to move through the tape as well, and the shift function for blue, just so you know beforehand, because I've done this before and it can screw up depending on what you're trying to do. If you hold down shift, which I won't do right now, and move the blue encoder, it'll basically allow you to slide the position of whatever track you're on. So sometimes if I'm doing an acapella and if I'm recording acapella, I didn't start it on beat, correctly, but I know the BPM is correct, I can just use this to adjust the start of the acapella. So just be careful when you slide in. Say if you're doing a whole lot of this, trying to slide through the tape usually what I'll do is slide through the tape to try to find a point where I need to lift up or something like that. Just make sure you're not holding down shift when you're doing it, otherwise you'll throw that section off and you have to adjust it and place it back. So that's the blue encoder. The green encoder adjusts your loop size. Now turning the green encoder without hitting shift adjusts your out point, and if you can get it back to the exact point, it'll kind of tick blue when it's right at the end of the section. And if you hold down the shift button and turn the green encoder, this will adjust your loop start. So that's something that comes in handy if you do a lot of BPM changes on your tape. You can use those to pick out loops, or also you can use the shift or loop button. Now onto the probably the most interesting encoder function in the tape area is the white encoder, which allows you to change your tape speed. So right now this is 1:1, so it means 90 beats per minute. We turn it up, That makes the tape, run faster, and increase the pitch, lower the pitch by bringing it down. So you can get some really, really interesting stuff. I've done things where I've taken acapellas, or I might, do rap or sing into the OP-1 using the microphone, and then pitch myself down, or to really increase the effect, record, like I said, I had something here, if I had a blank spot, if I record my voice at +4, and then bring it down to like -3, you get crazy, slow-mo, low voice type effects that are really fun if you're trying to, add that type of flavor to your song. So that is the tape speed function. And then the right encoder changes your input level for whatever instrument that you're playing. So let's say if your instrument's a little bit too hot and it's it's clipping on the track, just turn this down to change the input level. I think that's all I want to do for right now. Like I said, this is just everything that you can do with the tape. I know this video doesn't really tell you how to create a song, which is what the whole goal of me sharing this type of information is, but this is kind of the building block so you can understand when I do later videos what's going on, because I'm not gonna lie, I might move a little bit too quickly. So as long as you understand what's going on here with me, whenever I'm flipping through a section and cutting and pasting and dropping, you have to understand the basics before you can really I guess learn how to use this on the fly, because that's what it wants to be. It has to be second nature when you're using it. You don't want to think about, oh dang, what button I hit to move this and adjust this. It has to be just, you don't think about it at all. So hopefully this video will help you understand the tape better. Like I said, tape management is probably the most important thing if you're really trying to record things on here. If you're using an external device and you want to record out, that's something completely different. But I can say that the OP-1 is very powerful enough that you could do anything you want to do on it, completely on the device. Like, I've done tons of different things, and it's really fun to use it too, because it's just so quick once you get around it. It's so quick and intuitive that it's very easy to build a song and adjust it and get a different feel for the songs. So I guess the next video I'll do will be just song creation, different things you can use to record the tape, and what you can do after you have it recorded. I'll definitely have other videos in the future, but thank you for watching this one. I know I went pretty brief, but I wanted to pack in as much information as possible. So if you guys have any questions, leave some comments below. I'm definitely open to answering any questions. And if you guys have any feedback, some particular thing that you want me to cover, I can do that in a future video as well. But yeah, thank you for watching, and have fun with your OP-1 now that you understand how to use the tape. Thanks.